The practical magic house. I know I'm not the only girly who has fantasized about what it might be like to live in that cozy Stevie Nicks hippie witch paradise of a house, especially now that it's fall. There's just something about the newly autumnal air that puts me in the practical magic mood. Like, I find myself craving a rainy day indoors where I'm curled up on the couch with Hilo watching practical magic, drinking a cozy drink, magically lighting candles by blowing on them. You know, the usual fall fantasies we all have, right? And I know I'm not the only apartment dweller who wistfully dreams about the charm and character that comes with a Victorian house like the one in the movie. But even if your apartment lacks those iconic old world features, it is possible to conjure the spirit of the practical magic aesthetic through the power of styling. So in this video, I'm going to break down the practical magic decor look and give you some ideas that will make it more attainable in even the most basic new build apartment. And if you're new here, my name is Steffi, and on this channel I talk about small apartment styling tips, cozy living, and the joys of living alone. So if you're into that, consider subscribing and giving this video a like. So when it comes to capturing the essence of the practical magic look, it really comes down to cozy nostalgia, vintage elements, thrifted oddities, rustic hominess, and a free-spirited sense of self. And also, there's a very interesting duality to the practical magic decor style. On one hand, it's very enchanting and whimsical, and then on the other hand, it's very grounded, very down-to-earth, rustic. Visually, it's kind of like this dance between these two opposite forces, the practical and the magic, the grounded rustic and the enchanting whimsy. So let's get into some specific decor ideas that will help you summon this style in your space. Starting with decorative accents. So when shopping for decorative accents for this look, you want to aim for an earthy color palette, warm, cozy fabrics, nature-oriented subject matter like vintage botanical prints, and really anything that looks like you could find it in a witch's cottage. Remember, we're balancing the whimsical with the grounded, so rustic meets witch aesthetic should be top of mind. Apothecary bottles, velvet curtains and throw pillows, old books, peel and stick wallpaper that's reminiscent of the wallpaper they have in the living room. These are the things that will help you imbue the essence of this style in your apartment, even if you might not have the Victorian architectural details. And get a little playful with it. Like, I was looking for wall art like they have around their staircase in the movie. You know, like that vintage portrait look. And I found this piece on Society 6. It may not be exactly the same look, but it has a similar essence. And I also just like that it looks like she's being consumed by plants, like she's some kind of forest witch who has become one with the woods. And thematically, that totally aligns with this style. So when you're decorating with a specific inspiration in mind, like a movie, keep in mind that you don't have to literally translate the style piece by piece, of course. Sometimes it can be about capturing the themes and the spirit of the look, not making an exact copy. And in addition to these specific items, you also want to layer tons of plants and basically make a botanical wonderland out of your apartment, whatever you have room for. Plants play a huge role in this aesthetic, so you can really go crazy with them. Same thing with candles too, actually. The more candles and plants, the better. And also, of course, you'll want to hit your local antique store to see what little decorative objects you can find, because ultimately a practical magic decor aesthetic should look collected, cozy, and a little quirky. So an antique store is perfect for gathering those little odds and ends that will make the look come to life. Now on to lighting. When decorating an apartment in the practical magic style, the lighting should be soft, warm, and enchanting. You want to set the kind of ambiance that makes your space feel like the air itself is made of magic. So much of what makes the practical magic house special is its distinct lighting. Like vintage style pieces with stained glass shades, a la the iconic Tiffany lamps, or lamps with intricate brass or wrought iron details, or lampshades with fringed or lace details that add a cozy, romantic touch. Really, it's all about classic, timeless lighting that you'd find at an antique store or maybe inherit from your cool great aunt. Speaking of cool aunts, this lamp in particular looks like if Stockard Channing's character in the movie were a lamp, don't you think? Like, there she is, that's her. So when working with a movie as your inspiration, you can use the characters as muses to guide your styling choices. If you find a piece that maybe wasn't specifically in the movie, but feels like the decor embodiment of a character in that movie, go for it. Really, the key is layering timeless, interesting, character-filled light sources throughout your apartment to evoke the warm, cozy, magical atmosphere in the practical magic home. Now let's talk about furniture. To conjure the practical magic aesthetic in your apartment, the furniture should be eclectic, lived in, and irresistibly cozy. You can opt for a plush, overstuffed sofa with soft velvet upholstery, something in a deep, earthy tone like moss green, warm amber, or muted plum. And then of course you'll want to pile it with mismatched embroidered pillows and cozy throws. For armchairs, think classic wingback or tufted leather chairs. A worn, imperfect vintage piece would be ideal if you can find one. The surfaces, like your coffee table or side table, could be sturdy wooden pieces, weathered with age, perhaps with a few scratches and scuffs that tell a story. And every surface, by the way, in your apartment is an opportunity for the types of decorative accents we talked about earlier: old books, candles, dried flowers, apothecary jars. Like really, with your surfaces, you can go crazy with all those pretty little witchy things. And another fun thing you could consider is a little cabinet like this, which would channel these cabinets in the Owens kitchen. Of course, if you live in an apartment, you can't renovate your kitchen to have cool cabinets like they have, but something like this would be the next best thing. You could display like a little collection of vintage glassware and little sparkly trinkets in it. Basically, in an apartment, if you're decorating with a certain house in mind, then it's all about taking the things that make that house special and then translating them into apartment-friendly versions. You know what I mean? And regardless of how small or inexpensive you need the furniture in your apartment to be, you really can still find ways to create an environment that evokes the spirit of the space that you're inspired by. Again, we don't have to be literal here. The limitations that come with living in an apartment don't actually have to be as limiting as we think. Finally, let's move this party into the kitchen, which is where some of the best decor moments of the movie really shine. The practical magic kitchen is nothing short of iconic. So to translate this into your rental apartment kitchen, which, as I said earlier, obviously you can't make any big renovation changes in, it comes down to the little details. Like, think about how you can incorporate the little things that will make your kitchen feel like the movie's unique farmhouse style kitchen, even if you live in a generic new build city apartment like I do. These little details can be glass jars full of herbs, spices, and teas to create, that witch's apothecary vibe. Glass bottles and ceramic containers are perfect for storing everyday essentials like coffee, sugar, and, little treats and treasures. And another example of where style and utility can go hand in hand is you can display copper pots and pans hung on like a rustic open rack or displayed on the counter. It's the warm, aged copper that would instantly add that old world farmhouse feel to your kitchen. And you can also swap out your plain cabinet knobs for vintage inspired ones. Think like ornate brass, ceramic, or crystal knobs that will give your cabinets a touch of antique flair. And a very key aspect to this look is layering. Layering. Like borderline clutter, but mindful clutter. Demure clutter. You want to give your kitchen that lived-in, cozy charm. Like it's a kitchen that has a soul and actually gets used. Even if you order takeout half the time, most of the time, too much. Even in a rental that has seen its fair share of Postmates deliveries, these layered touches will help you make your kitchen feel like a well-used kitchen and a well-loved kitchen. Like a place where family recipes have been whispered like forbidden spells throughout the ages, and that you actually cook with those recipes. The overall vibe should be warm and inviting and bountiful, a space where cooking feels like its own magical ritual, whatever that might mean for you. So those were my decor ideas for creating the practical magic aesthetic in a rental apartment that doesn't necessarily have the beautiful, timeless Victorian architectural details that the practical magic house has. But really, it's all about casting the illusion of this style, which actually kind of is apt because the practical magic house itself doesn't exist. It was a shell that was built for the movie and then demolished. So, everything is an illusion. And styling is about casting your own illusion that just makes you happy every day. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of when you think of the practical magic house? There are so many things to visually chew on in this movie, so I know that I really just scratched the surface in this video. So let me know what you think of in the comments below when you think of practical magic. And if you love this style, then I recommend you watch this video of mine next. It's all about dark cottagecore, which is another cozy, witchy style. So if you want some inspiration for that, watch this one next.